Imagine reading a sentence that says, "I knew you were right." Did you read it correctly? Or did you perhaps read it as, "I knew you were right"? Homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings, can be quite the conundrum. Welcome to the marvelous yet occasionally perplexing world of homophones. They are words that, despite having different meanings, sound absolutely identical. They're like linguistic twins, similar in sound but distinct in meaning, and they can often lead to amusing misunderstandings if used incorrectly. Let's consider a few examples to illustrate this point. The words new and new, for instance. New, spelled N-E-W, refers to something that is recent or not old. Like when you say, "I bought a new car." On the other hand, new, spelled K-N-E-W, is the past tense of the verb know. So you might say, "I knew the answer to the question." Another classic example of homophones is right and right. Right, spelled R-I-G-H-T, can mean a direction opposite to left, or refer to something that is correct. Like when you say, "You are right about that." Meanwhile, right, spelled W-R-I-T-E, is a verb that means to mark letters, words, or other symbols on a surface, typically paper, with a pen, pencil, or similar implement. So you could say, "I write in my journal every day." These are just a few examples, but the English language is teeming with homophones. Pair and pair, one and one, see and see, the list goes on. These words can be a bit of a challenge, especially for those who are just beginning to learn the language, but don't let them intimidate you. The key to mastering homophones is practice. The more you read, write, and speak English, the more familiar you will become with these tricky twins. Over time, you'll start to recognize them and use them correctly without even thinking about it. Homophones can be confusing, but with practice, you will master them. After all, every challenge in learning a new language is simply an opportunity to become a more effective communicator. So let's embrace the mystery of homophones together. Are you ready for a challenge? Here is a paragraph filled with homophones. Can you spot them all? Listen closely and let's embark on this linguistic adventure. Once upon a time, in a land by the sea, there lived a knight named Sir Wright. Sir Wright, who was right-handed, loved to write. He would write all night under the pale moonlight. The sight of him writing was quite a delight. One day he decided to fly a kite, but alas, the wind was too light. He tried with all his might, but the kite wouldn't take flight, so he decided to go for a hike instead. He walked through the woods until he reached a site where he saw a doe and a deer in a fight. He knew it wasn't right and decided to intervene. But he slipped on a peeled banana and fell on his right knee. Despite the pain, he stood up straight and scared away the deer with a loud shoo. The doe, grateful for his help, gave him a bow. And that's how Sir Wright's day went by. Now let's see if you've managed to spot all the homophones. There were quite a few, weren't there? Here they are: night and night, right, right and right, sight and sight, light and light, doe, doe and do, deer and deer, shoe and shoe, and bow and bow. How many did you find? Remember, homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. They can be tricky, but the more you listen and practice, the easier they become to identify. Great job! You found all the homophones. Keep practicing and you'll become a homophone expert. Don't forget, language learning is a journey, and every journey begins with a single step. So, keep stepping and keep exploring. See you in the next scene, the next. Have you ever struggled with past, present, and future tenses in English? You're not alone. Tenses, my friends, are the backbone of any language. They help us understand when an action happened. Was it in the past? Is it happening now? Or will it happen in the future? Let's dive right into the world of English tenses and untangle this complex web. Let's start with present tense. It's all about now. For example, if I say I eat an apple, it means I'm doing it right now. But wait, there's more to it. We've got the simple present tense, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Each has its own nuances and uses, but don't worry, we'll get there. Then we move on to the past tense. It's like looking in the rearview mirror. If I say I ate an apple, it means it already happened. Just like the present tense, the past has its versions too. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Now, let's take a leap into the future. The future tense speaks of actions that haven't happened yet. If I say I will eat an apple, it means I'm going to do it later. And yes, you guessed it, the future tense also has its own versions. Simple future, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Alright, that was a lot to take in, wasn't it? But here's the thing. English tenses aren't as scary as they seem. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first it's a bit tricky, but before you know it, you're cruising down the street with the wind in your hair. Remember, each tense has a purpose and a time to be used. It's all about understanding the context and the timing. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. So keep practicing, keep learning, and before you know it, you'll be a master of tenses. Tenses can be tough, but with practice, they become second nature. Time for another challenge. Can you identify the tenses in these sentences? Let's begin. Sentence 1. I eat my lunch every day at noon. What's the tense here? That's right, it's the simple present tense. We use this tense to talk about daily routines or habits. Excellent work! Moving on to sentence 2. They were playing soccer when it started to rain. Can you identify the tense? Yes, indeed. It's the past continuous tense. This tense is often used to describe an action that was in progress at a particular moment in the past. Next, let's consider sentence 3. She will have finished her homework by the time her favorite show starts. A bit tricky, isn't it? The correct answer is the future perfect tense. This tense is used to show that an action will have been completed at some point in the future. Now, on to sentence 4. They are going to the movies tonight. Can you guess the tense? You got it. It's the present continuous tense. This tense signifies an action that is presently ongoing or will happen in the near future. Let's try sentence 5. He had already left when I arrived. Any guesses? That's the past perfect tense. This tense is used to express that one action in the past happened before another action in the past. And finally, sentence 6. We will be studying when you arrive. What's the tense here? Absolutely right, it's the future continuous tense. We use this tense to talk about actions that will be in progress at a certain time in the future. Amazing job identifying the tenses in these sentences. You're developing a keen ear for English grammar, and that's a skill that will serve you well in your language learning journey. Remember, practice is the key to mastering these tenses. So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep challenging yourself. Fantastic! You're making progress. Keep practicing, and soon you'll have tenses under control. So, what have we learned today about homophones and tenses in English? We've embarked on a remarkable journey, unraveling the mystery of homophones, those tricky words that sound alike but have different meanings and sometimes different spellings. We discovered that homophones can be a fun challenge to conquer rather than a hurdle. Remember pair and pair, night and night, blue and blue? They sound identical, but their meanings couldn't be more different. Let's continue to explore the world of homophones, adding more and more to our vocabulary, and making our English more vibrant and expressive. From homophones, we ventured into the fascinating realm of tenses. We learned that tenses are not just about time, but also about the state of an action. We've seen how the simple present tense is used for habitual actions, general truths, and permanent situations. We've learned that the present continuous tense is used for ongoing actions at the time of speaking, while the past simple tense is used for completed actions in the past. We've also discovered how the future simple tense is used to talk about future events or actions. We've also learned that understanding and mastering tenses is crucial for clear and accurate communication in English. The right tense can change the meaning of a sentence, and the wrong one can lead to confusion. So let's keep practicing and honing our skills in using the right tenses. Now you might be wondering, that's a lot to take in, isn't it? And you're right. But remember, learning is a journey, not a race. It's about progress, not perfection. So take your time, practice at your own pace, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. To wrap it up, homophones and tenses are two essential components of English. They may seem challenging at first, but with practice and perseverance, they can become second nature. Remember, practice makes perfect. Keep practicing your English and you'll see improvements. Until next time, happy learning!